Hi everybody, I just wanted to thank my sponsors for this video real quick. The sponsors are the feeling you get when you hug a loved one. You should try the feeling you get when you hug a loved one. It's free, and all you need is a loved one. So go hug them. This has been brought to you by the feeling you get when you hug a loved one. Today I want to talk about Enter the Gungeon because it is a game that I think that everyone should play because it's really good. Whenever you start a game, you get a tutorial, usually. And whether this tutorial is yourself fucking around with the controls and learning how to use them, or a guided thing, depends. And this game sort of has a good combo of both. When you go into the tutorial room, you have this little ghosty man, and he tells you shit you can do, and which buttons to press to do them. And he gives you a little room to explore until you're ready to move to the next one. You can really move the tutorial at your own pace. You can rush to the end and sort of finish it, or you can fuck around with the nuances of the controls. It doesn't really matter. And then it also plunks you down into an actual fucking like little Gungeon area where you can fight a practice round and feel sort of accomplished. You can even find some secrets if you're smart. When you get into the actual game, you can also learn the ins and outs, because the tutorial is something that I wish most tutorials were optional. When you get into the game, you'll notice that the game's really fucking hard. That's because it's a bullet hell and roguelike, and what this means is that there are a lot of bullets on screen, and when you die forever, and you lose all your progress. The game is pretty much based around shooting. All the enemies are bullets, and they shoot bullets, and you shoot bullets, and all of it's projectile based. Like I said, it's a bullet hell. And pretty much the goal of a bullet hell is to hit people more than you're getting hit, which is harder than it sounds. The game's pretty hard, I won't lie to you. That doesn't mean it's not rewarding, and I'll talk about that later. But the difficulty of each floor is very well matched to how far you actually get. If you start to get really good at the first floor and beat the first boss on the first floor, then your next goal is to get really good at the second floor, and so on. Roguelikes are less about powering up your character and more powering up yourself as a player and your skills. I would say one complaint I have is that bosses are really fucking hard. I didn't actually beat the first dungeon's boss, even though I was consistently getting through the floors itself for a while, and it took me a while to do that. The floors themselves are infinitely easier than the bosses, and I never really had a problem clearing them. Now, like I said before, the Gungeon is a roguelike, and roguelikes can get boring if you just do the same thing over and over. So, the Gungeon combats monotony and boredom by giving you permanent incentives at the hub. In the hub world, you can go to the tutorial, go into the Gungeon, talk to NCPs that you unlock through your gameplay, and you can unlock new guns for inside the Gungeon. Notice that you never power up your character itself. All the characters you start with are the fucking same every time. And each of them has a sort of paradigm that you'll be utilizing depending on what you want out of your run. If you use the Marine, then you probably want consistent results and a good first starting weapon. If you choose the Convict, then you'll probably want some pretty good firepower to blast through everything. If you're choosing the Pilot, then you have a lockpick, which means you have better access to all the game's little shit. And if you're choosing the Huntress, you probably want to blaze past the first area because the Huntress has a weapon that pretty much fucks over everything. So you never really directly influence the NCPs when they start, and whenever you do start, you're a blank fucking slate. One thing I like about Enter the Gungeon is its color design. It has levels of how colorful things are, depending on how much they matter. For example, the backgrounds are really dull, and you and enemies are sort of a little bit brighter, but then the bullets are the most standout, because those are the things you need to be paying attention to the most. You shoot bullets at people, and you need to know where they're going and their trajectory so you can adjust it if needed, and you need to know where people's bullets are so you can avoid them. Sessions are usually 10 minutes in Enter the Gungeon. Unlike The Binding of Isaac, you won't feel like you're losing a lot. In The Binding of Isaac, the games are kind of short, and I didn't like this, and I quit the game. discouraged. This game makes for longer play sessions to make you feel like you're winning a little bit more. Now, the bullet hell genre and the roguelike genre are actually pretty riddled with problems that keep people at bay. Like I said, the permanent death can be very discouraging, and the bullet hell problems are that it's too fucking hard. Now, I want to discuss some of these problems. First, the problems with bullet hells. It is hard, but the Gungeon is not overwhelming. If you compare this game to something like fucking Toho, then this looks like a fucking cakewalk, except for some of the bosses. Bullets travel very slowly, and the enemies are really clear where they are, like I said before, in the color design. And there are ways to clear bullets and protect yourself. For instance, you have blanks, which refill every floor. So every floor you have pretty much 2 opportunities to clear all the bullets in the thing. I usually save these for the boss areas to make them a little bit easier. You also have tables that you can flip over to protect yourself temporarily if you need to quickly reload or something. And there are a lot of environmental things that you can use to your advantage, like shit in your way, or walls, etc. I usually don't have a problem dodging bullets. I just get behind something, reload, pop out, shoot, and then repeat. It's a pretty good strategy, and it doesn't always work out exactly like that, but it's pretty good. You also have a dodge roll, which you can use to be temporarily invincible, but it sends you sort of sailing into a trajectory, so you want to be really careful with it. You want to use it sparingly. Now, some of the problems with roguelikes are that sometimes the crush of defeat can feel more fucking terrible than the satisfaction of victory. Like I was talking about before, games like The Binding of Isaac had you lose a lot, and it would line up all of the shit you lost in a cute little line. And it felt pretty fucking terrible. This game sprinkles little victories in. Clearing rooms makes the money fly at you, and it's really fucking satisfying. Not to mention, the better you do, the more money you get. If you kill an enemy without getting hit, it has a more likely chance of giving you money. And if you get hit by an enemy, you're not going to get any fucking money from it. Every time you clear a boss, not to mention, you get really cool rewards and cool music. In The Binding of Isaac or Spelunky, when you cleared a room, you got like pretty much fucking not much. In The Binding of Isaac, you got like a thing, and in Spelunky, you got jack shit. So pretty much, the better you do, the more you get. The more chests you get to open, the more drops you find, the more money you get, the more you can spend at the store, the more guns you can use. And it's cool and satisfying. Like I said before, the satisfaction of victory and the crush of defeat are sort of at odds when you're playing roguelike. But Enter the Gungeon really does a good job in making this satisfaction of victory more than the crush of defeat. Because even if you make a small fuck-up in Enter the Gungeon, honestly, you have a lot of health. And you can probably make it up later. And once you finally do something that you've been trying to do this whole time, it makes it feel really good. For instance, here's a specific anecdote from my playthrough. It took me a long time to gather enough materials for this guy to repair the elevator to the 2nd floor. But once I did, and it had taken me dozens of runs, it felt so nice. And now every time I use the elevator to the 2nd floor, I think, I fucking earned this. And it was great. So, in sum, Enter the Gungeon is a good, snappy little game that I think everyone should play. Because it's crisp, it does what it fucking knows what it is, and it does it well. It's a little bullet hell roguelike that solves all the problems common to both genres. And that's pretty fucking cool.